Hello enthusiasts and welcome to this new video from the website www.MoonWatch.fr. Today I'm going to introduce you to a tool watch from Breitling, the Breitling B-1. It was in 1998 that Breitling officially launched its tool watch, the Breitling B-1 Professional. It took 2 years of research to develop this tool watch from the Breitling Professional range, but it's worth the wait as this tool watch is in the process of being developed. This B1 includes several features highly appreciated by travelers, globetrotters, and pilots. Thus, we find the alarm, a dual time zone, the chronometer, the countdown timer, etc. At Breitling, unlike other big names in Swiss watchmaking, the professional range is mainly composed of watches with quartz or super quartz movements. This B1 was produced from 1998 to 2006 in 3 different versions, the A6806-2 and all these models have a steel case, and a few rare models were produced with a gold case. Their reference, by the way, often starts with J or K. There are also other differences. For example, the super quartz movements only appeared later, meaning that the first models of this Breitling B1 were equipped with the B68 quartz movement in models up until around 2003, whereas models from 2003 onwards are equipped with the B78, which is a super quartz caliber from Breitling. This Breitling B1 succeeds the Breitling Chronospace and will be replaced in 2007 by the Breitling Airwolf. It is a descendant of the Breitling quartz chronographs from years such as the Navitimer 9106, the Jupiter and the Pluton. It was truly a little technological gem for the end of the years. Regarding the specifications of this professional Breitling B1, the model I'm presenting to you is from 1999. It is a men's watch with a steel case that houses a caliber, Breitling 68 quartz, based on an ETI E2331. The water resistance is rated at 50 meters. The bezel is bidirectional. The crown is of the push-down type, meaning it is not screwed down. And you can press on it. There are also 2 push buttons. To protect everything, there is a sapphire crystal. The dimensions of the watch are quite respectable, with a diameter of 43 mm and a thickness of 16 mm. The watch has a weight not exceeding 95 grams. Finally, it is mounted on a Breitling leather strap, with a lug width of 22 meters. Regarding the complications, we find, among others, the perpetual calendar, the dual time zone, the chronograph, the alarm, and the date. The case of the Breitling B1 chronograph is made of steel and measures 43 mm in diameter with a thickness of just over 16 mm. It is therefore a thick watch, which may not necessarily suit a small wrist. But despite this imposing size, the watch is light and weighs less than 100 grams. Thanks to quartz, since quartz movements are significantly lighter than automatic movements. The central crown may or may not be signed with the Breitling B. On my model it is not. It is a push-down type crown, which means it can be turned in both directions. And you can also press it. The central push button notably allows for the illumination of the watch. The buttons, located at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, allow you to manage the chronometer, the alarm, and the various settings of the watch. I won't detail all the settings here, as Breitling has released a manual of several pages. It's quite complex since it's a tool watch, but once you've read it, you understand the general functioning of the watch quite well. The bezel of this Breitling B1, it is bidirectional. It is very pleasant to use and without clicks. Breitling, by the way, developed a ball bearing system to ensure its smoothness. Here, we find the location where the balls are housed. Black marks indicate each minute on the bezel, and there is an inscription every 5 minutes. A small phosphorescent pearl has also been placed. The bezel also rotates when you turn it. You see the bezel rotates as well. This allows you to use the slide rule to perform multiplications and divisions and other operations. Finally, I will introduce you to the case back that represents the famous Breitling turbine. It is shaped like an airplane turbine, as Breitling has a strong aviation DNA. On this case back, there are several inscriptions such as chronograph, chronometer, manufactured in Switzerland, 50 meters, and the reference A68362. The Breitling name and the brand's wings are also engraved in the center of the case back. The case back is really very nice. This Breitling B-1 Professional was produced with several dial colors. Notably, there are blue dials and black dials. The model I am presenting to you is the sky blue dial. This dial is simply magnificent. On the dial we find two digital displays, one at the top and one at the bottom. One at the bottom that integrates quite well, moreover, to the watch's aesthetics. These displays are great for advanced features such as the chronograph or the alarm. They are backlit and very readable both day and night. The backlighting is very discreet. It's somewhat like the night mission backlighting we know from Breitling. We also find the numbers 3, 6, 9 and 12 written in large and covered with phosphorescent materials. This product, by the way, is extremely powerful. So I don't know if it's superluminova or a derivative. In any case, it is very, very powerful and illuminates super well at night. In the center, you can also read Breitling B1. And we find the winged logo with the B of Breitling. This logo is inscribed in gold. Finally, we find on the tool for tour a slide rule that allows for various conversions and operations. Combined with the slide rule, we are truly in the realm of a tool watch. The hour and minute hands are sword-shaped. And the second hand has its tip painted in red. And we find the Breitling logo at its end. It's a very discreet detail, the red tip, but it makes a difference and really allows for very good readability of the seconds. Moreover, the red also reminds of a certain inscriptions on the slide rule, for example, the 60 or the kilometer. The two main advantages of the dial of this Breitling B1 are firstly the aesthetic aspect, which is very successful. The organization might seem busy, but it is not at all. The watch is extremely readable. Honestly, it's very pleasant to look at. You can easily read the time and the different functionalities of the watch. Then, the second advantage is the exceptional nighttime readability. The two digital displays are backlit, so there's obviously no problem reading the time in the dark, but even the hands and numbers as well as the indices are covered with a luminescent, highly powerful product. So, they also ensure very good readability in dark environments. Finally, it's not very visible in the video, but the reflections of this blue dial are majestic. It's not a sunburst dial, but the dial is magnificent. It captures all the sun's rays and reflects them like nothing else. The Breitling B1 is equipped with the Breitling 68 caliber, based thus on the ETA, E20.331 movement. Très dur. It is a quartz movement that offers several complications, such as dual time zone, chronograph, alarm, perpetual calendar, and date, and many more. This B68 caliber is a quartz movement certified as a chronometer. It must not deviate by more than 0.07 seconds over 24 hours. This represents approximately 2 seconds per month and 25 seconds per year. Despite the fact that this B68 movement is not a super quartz but is the predecessor of Breitling's super quartz, the B78. This movement is of excellent precision. It is a movement that offers 2 backlit LCD displays, as well as a very discreet beeper. The beeper, frankly, you can hardly hear it. For the alarm, the battery life ranges from 2 to 4 years, which is relatively standard for a quartz watch. Contrary to what one might think, it is a quartz watch. And as a result, this watch is much more precise than all the other automatic watches you can find at Breitling's. Even the watches that are KOSK certified at Breitling, the automatic type watches, the Avengers, which are KOSK certified, those watches will not be as precise as this Breitling B-1. We thank Lockwards. The Breitling B-1 Professional was delivered either with a leather strap or a metal bracelet from the Professional range. I have owned the metal bracelet on other Breitling models and I'm not a fan because I find it very showy, very bling bling. It's not very comfortable. Well, I'm not a fan. I don't like this metal bracelet, so I preferred using a calf leather strap with white stitching, so a very simple strap. It's a strap from Breitling. And honestly, I find these straps super comfortable, very durable, and with an excellent quality-price ratio. I love these leather straps from Breitling. The watch is mounted on it. The whole ensemble is very elegant and matches perfectly with the blue of the dial. You see, we have the blue of the dial with the black strap. It's very understated, very classy. A blue shark leather, like the one I have on my Airwolf, also suits this dial perfectly. After all, you have to like blue, obviously. In any case, this aviator watch fits perfectly on my wrist, which must be 18 centimeters. You see, the watch sits well, despite a thickness of more than 16 millimeters. The watch, the Breitling B-1, remains a chronograph that is very pleasant to wear. Its size and shape fit the wrist perfectly. This vintage watch weighs less than 100 grams. It's a watch that, from the late 90s, it is very light, and as a result it is very discreet, and you hardly feel it on the wrist since it's a quartz movement. No oscillating mass, so no noise or disturbances that could come from the movement. It is really very, very, very pleasant to wear. Regarding the packaging, we find the famous Breitling yellow box. I will try to show it to you on the camera. So for me, it's the original box of the watch. So, well, it has been through a bit. So the famous yellow box with a user manual that is specific to the model. The box is a Breitling box. I believe it's made of bakelite. The material is magnificent. As well, box. There you go. We find the tag here. A little plinth, a kind of velvet inside. So it's really of very, very high quality at Breitling, not made of jeans. I love these Breitling packagings. I always find them very classy. I like them a lot. So here it is, my watch. It was delivered on a strap made of leather, but it is possible to have it on a metal bracelet which costs a bit more. By the way, which I don't like at all. So I would rather recommend you to buy the leather strap version. If you want to acquire a Breitling B-1 in good condition on the second-hand market, you should expect to pay at least 1,600 euros. It's a big budget for a quartz watch, but honestly, you won't regret the purchase. The watch fits really well. It is still very modern. I find it more elegant than the current lines. The last one I really liked in super quartz was the Airwolf. After that, I had a bit more trouble. So there you go at this price, and given the age of the watch, it will be difficult to find A watch in full set at 1600 euros. It's rare to have the watch in full set, especially since these are vintage watches nowadays, since it dates back to the late 90s. But well, it's not very, very bothersome, because I don't think there are any copies of this model. Once again, our Chinese friends are not interested in these watches because they are not widely distributed. They prefer to make replicas of Rolex as it brings them more money. So you can go for it with your eyes closed. This Breitling B-1 is an excellent everyday watch. Personally, I wear it as a tool watch, and I also wear it for traveling. I just advise against using it in water. No swimming with it because these watches are rated for 50 meters. So basically 50 meters is only for splashes. That means if you wash your hands with it, it will be fine, the watch won't be harmed. However, I advise against diving or swimming with it. One last very important thing. Check the model you are going to buy. There have been 3 model references. In my article, I specify them. Not all models are negotiated at the same price. You should know that this B1, which is the first model, 99, is negotiated at higher prices than the more recent models that were released in the early 2000s. This model, which is equipped with a quartz movement, also cost more than the models with the super quartz. So I don't know why. It's the demand that sets the price. So, well, that's what you need to know about it. In any case, you won't regret a purchase like this, because for 1600 euros, it's difficult to find a quartz watch of this quality with this level of finish for a price like that. Well, let's be honest, quartz watches haven't been very popular for a few years. It's the automatic watches now that are the standard in the watchmaking industry. But I love this Breitling. This Breitling B-1 Professional quartz, so I love it. Well, it's not cheap for a quartz watch. It costs more than 1500 euros, 1600 euros. It's not a small budget, it's already a significant investment, but it's not just a simple quartz. It's a piece of aviation history, and it's a piece of Breitling's history that you're buying with this watch. It's a watch that is ultra reliable, very precise, with barely a few seconds of drift in a month. It's truly a very, very good watch. It is part of the vintage watches that are still in the current lines. It's not a watch that looks old-fashioned. It has a nice diameter. The dial is magnificent. It's its major asset is this very well arranged, very well organized dial with perfect readability both day and night. Honestly, you don't need to be a pilot to treat yourself to this aviator watch. And that's what's nice, because 1600 euros is savings for sure, but it's not an astronomical budget like a Brigade Type 20 or that kind of watch, where, on the other hand, you'd have to break the bank to afford it. Here, it still remains an affordable price. The blue dial is magnificent. I also had the one with the black dial, which is also magnificent. Personally, you often hear people criticize these Breitlings, whether it's the Navitimer or these professional ranges, saying that the dial is very busy. I don't think so. I think that the dial has a lot on it, okay, that's true. However, it is extremely readable. Right away you can read the day, the date, the time. No, honestly, it's really a watch. For me, this Breitling B1, even though it's a quartz model, is a true Breitling watch in which you really find the genes and DNA of the Swiss brand. And I can only recommend its purchase to you. If it's a model you like, you can go for it with your eyes closed. So before I leave you, I remind you of our website, MoonWatch.fr. I invite you to visit the site, where you will find numerous reviews on watch models, vintage or not vintage, automatic or quartz. You can also find us on social media, namely Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by searching for MoonWatch.fr. All together. And finally, don't hesitate to like with the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you want to follow our updates and to see our future videos in preview. With that, see you soon.